Hello everyone, if you're new here, hi, my name is Alivia Brown and I am currently a third-year undergraduate student at UCLA studying anthropology. And in today's video, you obviously know that I'm going to be talking about my midterms this week and just what that whole experience is like. Throw in some study tips in there. Now I filmed this video, I'm looking down because I have my computer here because there's some comments that need to be made before giving you the footage. And that is, I expected this to be like a very linear video. I filmed it kind of vlog style, so whatever I was doing in that moment or whatever I was studying for, I documented, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm just gonna give you some context and I'll cut back and forth between this clip and these clips. So without further ado, let's just talk about it. Okay, so within these like vlog clips, or my midterms week even, the first midterm that I had was my biology midterm. And I am in EEB 185, otherwise known as Ecology and Evolutionary Biology, Evolutionary Medicine. Now this class, it's a lot to know, a lot of information, pretty difficult STEM class, and that is what I first started with this week, so feel free to watch that footage and how I studied for that. So what I tend to do in order to study for my exams is I'm the type of person who kind of spaces it out like more days back. Some people like to cram it all into a few days so then you like don't forget the information, but I'm not really like that. So what I do is, let's say, so for my bio midterm, it's the end of week 4. Yeah, it's the end of week 4. So I study each week of content in a day. So I'll backtrack from whatever day the test is. So my bio test is on Friday. Then I study the week 4 material on Thursday, the week 3 material on Wednesday, the week 2 material on Tuesday, and the week 1 material on Monday. So by that standard, I needed to have started studying on Monday, and that's what I did. So right now I'm on time, but inevitably life happens and you fall behind. And that's okay, you know, because of COVID, you can take the test like at any time of the day for this particular class. So if I needed Friday to study, I could just take the test that night. Little note about this next clip. I had just woken up, okay? I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to A, document what I was studying, and B, study in general. So the happy, positive, like awake vibes are about to transition into me being half asleep. So just enjoy that. Hello friends, it is about 9:43 in the morning and it's still week 1 of my finals week season. And I wanted to give a little update. So for that bio exam that I was telling you all about, I don't think I ever told you guys my strategy for studying. Also, sorry if you can hear the garbage truck in the background. I tend to, so for each of my slides, the professors have different PowerPoints that they go through. And what I tend to do is I go through all their slides and write down anything that I don't already know. So like, and what tends to happen is you have this like entire collection of just notes. And then once I've written down the things I don't already know, usually like the day before the test, I go through it and just really make sure that even after writing everything down, it's still like hammered in my brain. That's like one of my main strategies. And also, tiny little thing, I also number my pages. So yeah, that's a 1, I'm sorry. And then this is a 2. Because it really helps me keep track. Oh, focus, okay. Because it really helps me keep track of everything that I've been working on. So I have some classes today, but hopefully I can get around to studying more bio. And then when I inevitably start studying for my next exam, or I take this exam or have another idea, I will take another video. So I'll see you all then. And then these are just some general comments about midterms and what midterms are like at UCLA, and then also just some last minute tips that I had. Hello, it's that same day a little bit later, and I did want to mention that during midterms week at UCLA, and I think honestly at most schools, it's pretty tough because you have classes while you're also like having midterms, if that makes sense. So during finals week, you have a week off. Like there's no school, there's no classes during the week that you have your finals, whereas midterms, it's like on top of everything else. So I had class and now I'm back to studying and doing my normal homework. So in some ways, finals week is a little bit easier. Depends on who you ask. That's could be an unpopular opinion. I'm honestly not sure. But I did want to say that and remind people that it's really important to budget your time well. And that's part of why I space out my studying so far in advance, because it's on top of like my homework and normal classes. So yeah. But remember when I told you all that I wrote that information that I didn't know on a piece of paper? Well, my friends, then after writing these papers, I mentioned that I would go through them and make sure I knew everything on them. Well, I didn't say how I did that. So instead of like going through and highlighting everything or just like rereading it, what I do is I actually treat the papers as presentation notes. So I literally pretend that I'm like explaining all of this information to someone. So I hold this up and maybe you're in front of a class, maybe you're teaching a friend, whatever suits your fancy, okay? And you go, oh, okay, so what's the relevance of evolutionary medicine? Well, let me tell you about antibiotic resistance, because if you understand antibiotic resistance, you can begin to understand the relevance and importance of evolutionary medicine. And then you go on and you explain antibiotic resistance or the cultural facets of XYZ, okay? There's a lot of things you could do with that. And this method has just become such an important method for me. And I really do find that I remember things better. Now that's not gonna work for every class. For my bio classes and often my anthro classes, that works. But that is how I finished studying for this. I'm gonna go through some worksheets and then my exam is tomorrow. So wish me luck. So I have Spanish class in literally like 20 minutes, so I wanted to give a little update on how my bio exam went after a thorough review of my study materials and everything. It actually went really well. I'll be honest, bio exams don't usually go that well for me. Honestly, for anyone, it's just, you know, the STEM departments at schools tend to be notoriously difficult, and that's okay. Okay, the next exam that I had to take was actually Spanish. And I am in Spanish 3, which is still beginner Spanish. And this class, you know, it's important. I want to do well in school, but it doesn't really have anything to do with anthro, whereas the bio classes, at least in my track, the bio classes have a lot to do with anthro. So it's not as like important to me. You can kind of tell there's not as much drive. But here is how I studied for Spanish. There's less footage, so I apologize. Okay, I literally had my Spanish test in like an hour, but I realized I've barely talked about like the way that I study for it. And once again, kind of like bio, I have a ton of different papers. But the main thing that I do, kind of like bio, is go through like the vocab and the conjugations and write down anything that I don't already know. And then anything I do know, to reinforce it, I like write that down in a different color. So one example, when I was going through my vocab, anything I didn't know the first time through, I wrote in red, and anything I already knew, I wrote in black. So then it was really obvious how much I needed to improve. And then the next time that you go through it, what happens, sorry, I'm looking for the words, is the next time, so maybe this was a different day, it's pretty much all, or this one is all in black because I knew the terms already. And it's really great for your like confidence because you can see how much you're improving. And then anything that I really can't remember, again, sorry that I'm shuffling through all these pages. Okay, anything I really can't remember, I'll write down on like a little piece of paper, and then I'll try to use them in a sentence. So to really like reinforce and get that information in my brain. So I'm gonna take this test in like an hour and kind of just hope for the best. Again, Spanish isn't what I study, so it's not like that big of a deal for me personally. Do your best in school. But yeah, that's all I have to say on Spanish. And then, lo and behold, my anthro classes, I didn't actually take any vlog footage because I didn't have any anthro exams to study for. I had essays to write. So I just want to talk to you about that real quick right now. So the anthro class that I'm in right now is actually also called evolutionary medicine, just like the bio class. They just have the same like topic, which is really interesting. And I've talked about this before, but I love taking like a class like that from two different perspectives and two different fields, so the biology perspective and the anthro perspective. But for that class, we have 3 essays to write, each on different topics. And for that class, we are interviewing people who we think could give good insight on this topic, and then you write an essay. And generally for that, I try to space out the different milestones. So maybe I'll interview someone like a week or 2 before the deadline. And then once I have that interview done, I can kind of think about what I want to say. And then I just give myself a lot of time to write the essay and then like a full day or 2 to revise the essay. And also occasionally I'll ask people in my life to look over it and look for any grammar mistakes, which is always really helpful. And then the other anthro class that I'm in is actually like a research oriented class. So there's no midterms for it, but there will be a final for it. So if anyone is interested in what finals week would look like for like another anthro class, please absolutely let me know. I think that's kind of it. I really just briefly wanted to talk through this footage and everything. And lastly, next week, I believe it's next week. There might be something coming in before it, but I'm gonna be talking about anthropology internship hunting and like job hunting. I'm only a third year, so I'm not actually looking for an anthro career or going to grad school yet. These are also videos that I will inevitably be talking about at some point in the future. I have been actively looking for internships, and it's pretty tough if you don't really know what you're doing. Don't really know what I'm doing. So stay tuned for that, and I hope you are having a fantastic Sunday, because hopefully this gets up on Sunday. Speaking it into action, stay safe out there, and yeah, okay, I'll see you guys all next week. All right. Bye.